Well, so I guess for me, one I played is a pseudo remaster. I call it a remake. It's the Raidou Remaster. I think remaster is not doing it justice. It is a like from the ground up remake. Everything is completely revamped. I don't think a remaster is really doing it justice. So
Yeah, I mean, the original had pre-rendered backgrounds. This one doesn't. Like they really just changed the whole thing.
yeah, so I feel like the remaster is not giving enough credit. So I'm just for my own benefit, I'm just going to call it a remake because it's pretty much what it is. But so yeah, so this is a remake of the original Raidou Noha versus the Soulless Army game on the PS2. And, like that game is the original game is like super jank. It's notorious for being like jank as fuck. It's
Have you played the original before?
Yeah, I beat the original many years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, me too.
It's a decent game. I think it has a lot going for it. The setting is really cool. I think they really capture the feeling of like a 1920s Japan. I love the music. I think Shoji Meguro greatness. It's peak. And yeah, overall, it's a very interesting experimental game, but it did have a lot of problems. I think mainly with the combat. The combat at the time was very slow, sluggish. The controls like weren't very responsive. Everything felt like super tight and everything. It just wasn't great. So, this remake was the golden opportunity to like basically address all the problems with the original. So now I haven't played the original in many years. So my recollection of like mainly the story, I had very small snippets of memory of it, but I really couldn't remember like the actual plot of the game. So I was actually really excited to see how it held up. So basically, as far as the gameplay goes, this game uses Raidou Noha 2's battle system because that game was a lot more polished than the first one, and all the mechanics that were used in Raidou 2 are used here. So
I feel like even saying that though is not giving the remake, remaster, whatever you want to call it, enough credit because I feel like it further improved. It's not like they just copied and pasted the combat from 2. Mm-hmm. They further improved upon it. It's more polished. It's even smoother. You know, it plays better. They added some new stuff. Like, it's more than just the combat of 2, I would say.
Yeah, I meant more so like actual like mechanics are the same. It uses like a shared MP pool instead of like one singular one for each demons. It has like a strong attack, weak attack for Raidou, and yeah. So basically, it's more like the general like rules of the combat that are lifted from Raidou 2, but it does have several extra like bells and whistles. Like you have a perfect dodge, and and if you do a perfect dodge, you can perform like a counter attack, which is always fun to pull off. Something I really liked in this game that Raidou 2 didn't have was that Raidou himself actually has like multiple exclusive abilities. So as much as I like Raidou 2's combat, his moveset definitely felt a bit limited. So the fact that you can actually learn special attacks and you can hold down the R2 button and map them to the face buttons and they work off a cooldown timer. And he has a lot of like really interesting moves. Like you could do ones that have a lot of elemental coverage. You could do this or that in the third. And yeah, there's a lot more options in this game. And you could even equip various passive skills to give you like a bunch of like to give you buffs or perks. And what's nice, you can actually even change these mid-battle too. So it's really good. It's good stuff. So the combat holds up. The demon fusion is there. You have manual skill inheritance, which is something that Atlas games didn't have for a long time until I think Persona 4 Golden. So that's nice.
What do you mean you don't like having to constantly reset your fusion till you get the skills you want?
And then even then, you can only maybe get like 2 out of the 4 that you want. You just have to settle for what you get. Yeah. I missed that. I missed that dearly. So something I really thought was interesting, even back in the original, was kind of the detective system, where you could actually summon a demon from your roster, and they'll have like a special investigation skill, and they can do things like read the minds of an NPC to get information. You could have demons that fly to go retrieve an item somewhere. You have demons that can like freeze the water and you can walk on it. I always thought that was interesting, and that was actually something that really worked well in the original, and like that didn't really need any polishing or fixing, and they kept that here, which is cool. So I always thought that's like one of the more unique and interesting features of Raidou. So basically all that stuff is good. The thing I was really curious about was how I felt the story held up, and it's okay. So I remember liking it a lot more back then, but you gotta remember, I was in my teens when I played that game, so I really couldn't I really didn't remember much. So I think the game, story-wise, has a good hook. I think it has an interesting start, and what happens that I think really kind of hurts it is the story is very backloaded. Like, after the first chapter, there's a lot of you're basically doing errands a lot of the times for NPCs, and then the good story bits don't really happen until towards like the very end of a chapter. So you'll like for example, in the second chapter of the game, it has you have the intro of it, and then 90% of it is, all right, talk to this person. Okay, talk to my brother. Okay, go talk to the brother. Okay, I can't do this until you talk to this restaurant worker that I work for. Okay, talk to the restaurant worker. Okay, blah 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 blah, and rinse and repeat like 5 or 6 times, and then the game is like very, like it feels like busy work a lot of the times, and I do think the story kind of starts to go off the rails. Like when they start throwing in like a Terminator robot and the giant like Gundam mech battleship thing, you kind of start to lose me a little bit. Like, I know it's a fantasy, but you can only go so far before I kind of start to fall out of it. And there's actually for such a short game, there's a surprising amount of filler too. Like, there was this chapter that seemed really cool on the surface. So Raidou ends up getting sucked into this like alternate dimension and meets like a counterpart version of himself who's kind of doing a similar thing to what he's doing. And I was like, okay, I wonder how this is going to tie into like the main story. And literally pointless. You could cut that out entirely and nothing would change. So I'm like, okay. And then there's this character who's kind of like a recurring antagonist. It's actually Rasputin the monk, which is, it's pretty cool to throw like a real life historical figure in there. So I was like, he's kind of like a recurring boss who shows up every now and then. And I came to the conclusion near the end of the game that his only purpose is to serve as exposition. He actually really ends up not doing anything, so like you cut him out of the game and really not much would change. And yeah, he basically just is there to exposit vital story points, and it's like, and it's kind of a waste of a character because I think he had potential, but I don't know. So overall, I think the story is decent, but I do think that Raidou 2's story is significantly better. I think that game has a much better pace, and it doesn't like go nearly off the rails as much as this one does. So it's okay. I think it's good enough for what it is, but you could definitely kind of tell it shows its age, but it's fairly decent. So overall, I think my final takeaway is, as a remake, it's fantastic. It basically takes what the original did as a foundation and basically just like kind of made it so that it could live up to its potential. As a game mode itself, though, I think it's good. It's good. It's fun. It is fun to play. It's got good demon fusion. It's got customization. It basically takes Raidou 2's combat and just fleshes it out and makes it, gives it more depth to it. And the story is fairly decent. So I had a good time with it. I recommend it. And what's nice though is, I don't know, I could be reading too deep into it, but there is a side quest in this game where you actually talk to an NPC that is from the second game. It's someone from like the clan, which is like the main recurring villain in the second game, and they basically they almost break the fourth wall and imply that a Raidou 2 remake is coming out too. Like the dialogue is so on the nose to the point where it's almost like Atlas is literally saying, "Hey guys, we're working on Raidou 2. We're working on it right now." Like it's almost meta with how overt it is. So I was like, okay, there's the way they kind of implied, or very heavily implied, that Raidou 2 is gonna be getting the same treatment sometime down the line, and I hope so. That'd be really cool. So overall, this is a pretty decent game. I would recommend it. It's not perfect or great, but it's not bad. I think it's worth checking out.
That sort of reminds me of what they did with the Tales of R remake stuff.
Tales of Hearts R.
And Tales of Hearts R and Tales of Innocence R. You know what? Like, I talk about them later, but those games have extra characters that wasn't originally in the original game, and they're supposed to tie to each other. So there's an ongoing different background story involving the R titles, and they were supposed to finish it with Tales of the Tempest R, but that never went anywhere. So that storyline with like Doll, which is in Hearts R, if you remember, these other two characters, Innocence R, doesn't really go anywhere, which is a shame.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm guessing the R games, just particularly Innocence R and Hearts R, I'm guessing they didn't I mean, they were on the Vita, so I don't know what the hell they were expecting, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Kind of shot themselves in the foot there.